But the cycles said we're due for a 10-year period of a depression, stock market crashes, turmoil, famines. It's really amazing with these cycles. Natural crises happen at the same time. Like in the 1930s, we had the Dust Bowl years, etc. So I made the list of things to expect, which included the famines, locust invasions, etc., food shortages. We're seeing all of that. And by the end of the last year, every one of these forecasts was already coming true, except wars. I had wars also in that list. And then we had the war in February.
Bert Dohmen, the founder and president of Dohmen Capital Research, recently gave his outlook on some recent geopolitical, economic, and financial events happening around the world. In a recent interview with Stansberry's Daniela Cambone, Dohmen, who has over 4 decades of experience providing extensive market research and forecasts, explains that the world is facing global geopolitical and economic crises of massive proportions. He adds that this is a natural outcome of the policies of the past 70 years. We have come to another point of the cycle and things are going to get worse, Dohmen states. According to the veteran investor and author, the war in Ukraine might be the first of many as we descend into another phase of the world's history. But the changes Dohmen envisions are not only geopolitical. He also predicts a continuous decline of the global economy, primarily due to the reckless monetary policies of the past 4 decades. While commenting about the U.S. economy, Dohmen also states that the Federal Reserve is not being aggressive enough for what is to come. He explains that just like inflation went through the roof in the late 70s and early 80s, it will continue to rise exponentially over the next 2 years until we hit the previous all-time high of 19%. Dohmen has made a name for himself through various timely and accurate forecasts of the economy and major investment markets. In this video, we bring you another of his famous forecasts to help you navigate the murky waters of the bear market and the ongoing global economic downturn. Please watch the video to the end, hit the like button, and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. If you would like similar videos on the global economy and financial markets, then ensure you subscribe and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks and enjoy the video.
The European situation is so much worse than the US, and our situation is pretty bad. But in Europe right now, for example, one of the largest energy companies in Europe is now going to be nationalized by Germany because they just don't have the money to keep going. And this is one of the largest energy companies in Europe, so this is a major move to nationalize that. France just announced that they may even nationalize their entire nuclear industry because they want to reopen their nuclear reactors that they turned off some years ago. And the private industries that own these, they don't have the money to turn them back on. So France is going to nationalize. So this is going to be a worldwide trend of bailouts, because that's really what it is. China is already doing it, and we're going to see this worldwide. So you're going to see nationalization, and that breeds a lot of corruption and economic distortions. So I think the main key for investors is to be careful. Don't follow the advice to go bargain hunting. You can make so much money in the next 10 years just by being on the short side. I've done a lot of reading about World War II. In the 1930s, there was a depression worldwide, not just the US. And out of that came big dictators, Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler, even Franco. It was really a very bad time. And it comes out of that situation. In Italy, they started with fascism. Fascism is really when the big companies cooperate with big government and to the detriment of the population. So anyway, but I'm not a politician, so I just look at it from the sidelines. I cannot change things. But what is happening is exactly what I said 2 years ago. We wrote that in the next 10 years, this is going to be very similar to the 1930s. It's starting to happen. We're going to see more and more wars. This is a period of turmoil. It's a long-term cycle. It's about 70 years long. And so we have to get ready. It's 70 and 90 years. We have to get ready for the worst. But we also said at that time, we cannot change what is happening, okay? But but we can at least help to protect ourselves, and make somebody see if there's some profit opportunities. The first thing is, be safe. Don't follow the common advice. You don't want to follow 95% of the advisors that are out there. And what you want to do then is make money on the downside. And, have you ever noticed that stocks go down much faster than they go up? There's a lot of money to be made. Like in 1980 to 1982, we had a period very similar. We had very high inflation, we had very high interest rates, and our subscribers made a huge amount of money as gold plummeted from $800 to actually $250. We were short the mining stocks and so on. So you can make profits in times like these by not following the crowd. And so we call it this opportunities of a lifetime are ahead. It will not be a beautiful environment, but at least you can make some money to offset the losses that you will have in other places,
With a third consecutive 0.75 percentage points rate hike, the Federal Reserve has now taken its key rate to a 14-year high. While many experts are concerned that the central bank's actions will plunge the economy into recession, Doman believes its efforts cannot change what's to come. In fact, he believes the Federal Reserve may soon be forced to get more aggressive when inflation enters the double digits within the next 2 years. Here's Bert Doman's assessment of the current state of the economy in the United States.
Until you are in a depression and you have double-digit unemployment. And so I see analysts on TV and so on now saying, it's going to be great buying opportunity when we hit bottom. Well, when we hit bottom, nobody's going to have any money. They're all going to be in the poorhouse. The boom was going to be in homeless people and trying to find places to put the homeless people. I don't think we have enough sidewalk space to house all the homeless people that we're going to have. And so that's what you want to get ready for. Now, the Federal Reserve and all central banks have made huge mistakes in the last 5-6 years. In the U.S., interest rates by the Federal Reserve, the Fed funds rate, was kept at 0%. In Europe, they actually went below zero, and they had negative interest rates. Even on government bonds, you had to pay the government interest if you bought a government bond. I mean, it was totally ludicrous. It's the first time ever in world history that this has been done. Nobody knows what the long-term consequences are, except that they won't be good. So now we are going to the adjustment period. Everybody thinks a 75 basis point increase in the Fed funds rate is big. No, the Fed funds right now is what, 3.5%? This is ridiculous, 3.5%. But the inflation is as it was in 1980. Okay, same rate of inflation. Do you know what the Fed funds rate was in 1980? It was 20%. Right. We don't know what the Federal Reserve is going to do. We can only guess because they don't know themselves what they're going to do. That's the problem. We have economists, they're PhD economists. They only know what they know from textbooks.
Play it out if we were just to reverse course and just start printing money again, and we all just go back into La La Land euphoria and let the good times roll. What would be so bad about that?
Daniela, you're going to find out the answer to your question in the next 2 years. You're going to find that out because that is exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to fight a deep recession with new printed money. And that is going to give us that next push up in inflation. So my forecast 2 years ago was first we're going to go to the last high in inflation, which was 1980. So that prediction has come true. We're already there. And I said, and after that, we're going to go to the old all-time high in inflation in the United States, which was in 1917, and that was over 19%. So inflation is going to make a new high, in my opinion, sometime over the remainder of this decade. Let's call it that.
The market's response to the last Fed rate hike has been volatile. The bond market is now having its worst year since 1949, with even more volatility than the stock markets. There is also the issue of liquidity, which continues to drop sharply to peak pandemic levels. With these important warning signals, several experts have predicted that the central bank needs to adjust its strategy to avoid a recession. But there is always the possibility that high inflation is already entrenched, and the harder they try to lower it by raising rates, the more this situation worsens. What do you think about Brett Doman's remarks on the U.S. economy and the crisis? Please drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.